So excited to have you here today.
It's great to be
Um,
here.
Good. Okay, so for those that are joining us, we are pre-recording and we're going to be posting to all of our channels. We have had a number of questions submit that we're going to walk through today, and so we'll get through those. But first, let's just do quick introductions for people that aren't familiar with PairTree or with Carrot. So I'm Erin. I'm the CEO and co-founder at PairTree. And for those of you that don't know, PairTree is a self-matching connection platform that connects expectant moms with adopting parents. And the goal is to increase and accelerate opportunity for both of those groups because it just doesn't happen in any kind of streamlined way today. And I think it's helpful to talk about a little bit about the founding story. And that is, I know that it was needed because I went through it. We tried to get pregnant naturally, couldn't, graduated through all the various stages of reproductive technology, ended up having 3 tragic miscarriages, and found ourselves in this really confusing world of adoption. And we're just kind of blown away at how expensive it was and how long it took. And so we launched PairTree with the goal of making it more efficient in terms of those 2 people finding each other. We launched in July and we've had over 800 families register and over 170 expectant moms. And the good news is we've had 8 matches so far, which is all the motivation we need to keep going. So we're thrilled that we get to be affiliated with Carrot. And why don't you take it over and talk a little bit about you and what Carrot does?
Yeah, great. So, hi everyone. My name is Evan. I'm on the US operations team at Carrot. I've been at Carrot for over 2 years now and have worn quite a few hats since then. So, I currently oversee our provider partnerships. I determine eligibility requirements of our providers that our members use. And I'm also the Carrot subject matter expert for adoption, donor assisted reproduction, and gestational carrier journeys. So therefore, I chat a lot with our members on these topics in our expert chats.
That's
That's a little bit about me. Yeah.
awesome. You're an expert on a lot. And I think it's helpful to say for those of you that don't know, I think Carrot has some pretty strict criteria in terms of picking partners and providers. And so I think we're really honored to be affiliated with you because I think our missions really align in terms of making family building a reality for more people.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
so let's dive in. We have so many questions that were submitted, and we're going to do our best to get through as many as we possibly can in the time that we have today. So I think the first question is can you just talk a little bit about like what fertility benefits are? Because I don't
Yeah.
think there's a lot of people in our community that just don't fully know.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, we essentially work with companies to provide financial, medical, and emotional support as they pursue parenthood. So this includes fertility care like IVF or IUI, but also other family forming care like adoption and gestational carrier services. So fertility benefits at Carrot actually look like a reimbursement model in which companies provide percent coverage up to a certain dollar amount. So that could look like 100% coverage up to $50,000, 50% coverage up to $5,000, all towards like family forming care. So, one size doesn't really fit all. It really just depends on the employer's budget, but essentially just providing those dollars towards their care.
100% up to $50,000.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a benefit that's that big. That's amazing. What an amazing company to do that.
Mhm.
So, but talk a little bit about that too, because I think a lot of at least our community think that fertility benefits are just for companies that are like technology companies that have a ton of
Mhm.
money to spend on their benefits, and that's not the case, is it?
No, it's actually not the case at all. Fertility benefits actually expand to like all industries and countries. Carrot is also global. So, Carrot's customers actually cover technology, retail, professional sports, financial services, food and beverage, entertainment. The list kind of goes on and on. So the type of employer is actually defined less by the industry and more just like that they are an organization that wants to limit healthcare costs, but also provide equal access to care. So we have customers across the entire US, as well as in over 50 countries, who just want to provide this access to care.
And why would a company want to do this? Because I think a lot of our community are like, well, I don't want to ask because it's going to be like, oh, great, they want us to spend more money on them. But there's a huge benefit to companies providing fertility benefits, aren't there?
Yeah, definitely. It's actually kind of a long list, but I'll try to limit it. But So I'd say like one of the most important thing is that more and more workers are in need of these benefits because they're facing a lot of medical challenges or need more inclusive pathways to parenthood, like gestational care services or adoption, right? That traditional like health insurance just doesn't cover. So that's I think one of the biggest, but I think even from there, there's greater transparency of benefit costs in comparison to insurance, and reduced medical costs overall. Fertility benefits are great for attracting and keeping the best workers. So it improves employee productivity and job satisfaction. It creates retention basically. Fertility care uh, should be available to every employee, and fertility benefits kind of allow that. So, not just employees that fit the infertility diagnosis that health insurance provides. For anyone who's not aware, an infertility diagnosis currently only includes two people having unprotected sex for 12 months and are unable to become pregnant. So, as you can tell, that's not very inclusive. And so fertility benefits kind of fills those gaps, right? And says, we want to create a workplace of diversity, inclusion, and belonging.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember going through all that too. And actually, I also we're in Pacific Northwest, and so we have the big employers like Microsoft and Amazon up here, and they offer really good benefits for their employees. And I remember thinking, like, should I go get a job at Microsoft or Amazon just so I could get the benefits?
Exactly.
That's
That
a,
actually happens. Yeah, we hear that from our members all the time that, they're just they're thinking about going to a certain company on purpose just to get the benefits. So,
which is a huge deal if you're an employer.
mhm,
Wait, we can actually attract people just based on fertility benefits?
mhm.
That's a really big deal. Okay. And so for people who maybe at a company that don't have fertility benefits, so one, it sounds like don't be afraid to ask because for whatever reason, your HR department may not know that there's such a huge advantage to providing fertility benefits. But so is that the right path for people if they don't have benefits? Do they go to their HR person and ask them or?
Yeah, yeah. There's actually a few different pathways you can kind of talk to your team about. So yeah, one, reach out directly to your HR benefits team. See if they can add a more inclusive fertility benefit package.
Mhm.
So that's definitely one pathway, but there's quite a few. So you can also put together an entire group of people at your company who would all appreciate having fertility benefits. So it's not just you alone trying to talk to your HR team. I know that can be a little intimidating.
Yeah.
Um, you can also find someone at your company to advocate for you. If there's someone who isn't afraid to talk to them on your behalf and just wants to say, this employee wants to remain anonymous, so I'm asking on their behalf. And
Feel
I
asking for a friend.
Right, asking for a friend. Exactly, exactly. There are sometimes groups at work actually that may benefit from fertility benefits, like the LGBTQ plus group, a health and fitness group, maybe. There's tons of various groups at workplaces all the time that might be able to benefit from this. So sometimes if you actually reach out to that group as a whole and ask them, hey, can you advocate for this? Because I think it helps your group, but it would help me too. Sometimes HR teams are pretty open hearing from an entire group that's established at a company versus maybe just one person.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So you
So
can, yeah, and I mean, there's a few other ways, like, you can take like news from the media about Carrot to your HR team, like
yeah.
let Carrot's news do the talking for you. In general, employers do actually want to offer this type of benefit. They're just waiting for people to come ask them to offer it.
Oh.
So yeah.
And can we just ask Carrot to go do it for us?
Yeah, actually you can. So if you don't want to talk to your HR team directly, you can actually go directly to the Carrot website, and you can just ask us to ask your HR team to implement this. So you can do it, directly with your contact information. You can ask anonymously. You can actually submit all the information about your HR team and say that you want to be left anonymous. So our team then just reaches out directly to your benefits manager and just ask them if they want to have Carrot.
And why wouldn't people do this? Because it's just like free money, right? I mean, it's just like the way I think about it is like, I think you said one of the lowest benefits was 50% of 5,000, which is $2,500
Mhm.
just for asking you to talk to their benefits because, and it's for any kind of family forming benefit
Mhm.
too. So I just think why wouldn't people do it?
Right, and, like, more than just, like, the money, of course, it's, like, also, like, who doesn't want that, like, emotional support to, like, guide them throughout their journey? Who
Yeah.
doesn't want someone holding their hand, like, as they go through this? So,
Yeah.
it's kind of a no-brainer for a company to want to offer this, so, and for you to at least try, and I really do appreciate that we do have the anonymous, platform because, some people are more private in their lives. They don't necessarily want their employer to know that they're going through a family forming journey or want to.
Yeah.
And so it's a really great way for us to kind of reach out on their behalf and really be their advocate, even though it's anonymous.
Yeah, I mean, I know I remember when I was going through the reproductive technology stuff, I remember every time I'd walk into a lobby, I'd be like, a little bit embarrassed. And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't see anybody I know.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, that was 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So now I feel like it's different. That it's just like a lot of the stigmas attached to it have been totally diminished,
Mhm.
which is great. And I hope that that trajectory continues that in that direction. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's say for people that do have benefits, how
Mhm.
do they use them?
Yeah, so especially in terms of adoption, you definitely want to talk to your HR team
Mm.
about do your fertility benefits already cover adoption? If they don't, you definitely want them to fix that and say, it needs to be more inclusive. We need to cover adoption. But if they do already cover adoption, great. First step is done. But from there, you definitely want to understand how adoption is covered. Are certain providers only eligible in certain cases? Is there only a certain type of adoption that's covered? What is like what can I be reimbursed for, or what can I use the dollars for? From there, you just essentially want to ensure that your specific journey is covered with the benefit.
Yeah, because what I've seen at least is that on with benefits that for example legal costs will be covered, but some other services like marketing and matching wouldn't be, or
Right.
the money.
And
We have a lot of families that spend a ton of money on building their profile books, and that isn't necessarily covered.
right. The cool thing about Carrot is actually all of that's covered with eligible providers, which is awesome. But yeah, if your company doesn't have Carrot, you definitely want to make sure, like whatever you're spending your money on, whatever you want to use your benefit towards, that is actually covered.
Yeah, I love that. Can we, this is a little bit off schedule, but you mentioned there's the emotional journey. Can you talk a little bit about how you help people with that?
Yeah, definitely. So, we have a care navigation team who is there for our members every step of the way. Basically, if a member has a question, just wants a second opinion on something, just needs some research done, can't figure out how to choose which agency or which attorney to go to, trying to figure out how to make their journey a little bit easier, they will reach out to our care navigation team and we will do research on their behalf. We will provide them with some things to think about when choosing the agency. We'll give them the resources to kind of help them throughout their journey. And then I know I mentioned this earlier, but I do provide expert chats. So, if a member is trying to figure out what adoption pathway is best for them, we kind of talk through the options, figure out based off of their own journey, what would make sense for them, which pathway. If it's multiple pathways, great. Let's figure out how to get you the right resources to get started.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. Like it's more than just the money, right? It's more about also just like having someone in your court that you can talk to anytime you want, who is just trying to help them have better access to care. And that's I think probably the best part about my job is that I get to work directly with members and just help them.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that more and more because we have, I think, over 50% of our membership at PairTree
Mhm.
are working with an agency or an attorney already, and they use PairTree to boost their exposure to expectant moms. And so it is, I mean, we're seeing it that it's just kind of this multi-method approach to adoption just seems to be more normal. And now we've had so many of the adoption professionals reach out to us and say, how do we use you? And so it's been, it's nice to see this collaboration.
Yeah.
But I think it just becomes so much more important than to also have a kind of an objective party like a Carrot that can provide some extra insight
Yeah.
into that
Yeah.
process. That's great. Okay. Okay. So if people are interested, how do they find out more?
Yeah, so they can, go actually right to our Carrot website. It's get-carrot.com. There we go. Or, you can feel free to ask any questions to you, Erin, and I'd be happy to help answer some of those. I can also go ahead and send you, Erin, the link for the anonymous submission. From there, you can also ask questions just in general about Carrot directly on that website and learn more from our team.
Cool. And I'm just like, there is no downside to this. So I mean, the only thing that could happen is your company could say no, right? Like
Right,
where my mom raised me was like, well, what's the worst case scenario and can you deal with it? And
right,
so worst case scenario is company says no.
right.
Best
Exactly.
case scenario, company provides you benefits that you can use on your
Mhm.
journey.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I just like in my mind, I just think about a world where what if our adoptive families aren't paying, as much as they are to go on this journey? And like what if some of it was employer sponsored? That's just sounds like dreamy. So
Yep.
okay, good. Okay. Evan, you've been a wealth of information. Anything else we should add to this? Or I am more than happy to be the conduit if people have other questions to pass them along to you. And I think sending me that anonymous tip line would be amazing because, again, like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I love that pathway. I think any questions, I'm happy to relay answers over to you, and you can provide that to everyone following PairTree.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
See you.
Bye.